Hi, and welcome to my review slash buyer's guide slash user's guide slash review. All carries back together, back to review of two Leatherman MUTs. The side-by-side gives you a better review comparison for your buyer's guide, because most of you will not be buying two, even though most should buy two. So what I actually did, no offense to retailers, I do like to support my local businesses as much as I can. Some purchases I just refuse to pay retail because they're not doing anything above what an online store is doing. No offense to them. But so these I did buy from Amazon for $111 each. I have Amazon Prime. So I got $3.99 shipping for next day on this one, and on this one I ordered them within 5 seconds of each other. This one I did free second day. If you do a lot of Amazon, the Prime actually works out to be very beneficial. You can order something on Friday and have it at your door Saturday for $3.99, no matter really what it weighs or what it is. I haven't ordered anything big. I just ordered little stuff off Amazon, but anyway, so let me get these out and we'll go over your, I wish I was the other side, but it's got the UPS next day labels on it. Next day and second day. This one's mine, this one's a friend's. I'm going to pick up a second one, but anyway, we'll take his out first. And I can pretty much identify what you get in the, I can identify his from mine. I've already marked mine anyway. But what you get in your box is your sheath, your instructions, which are not tied to it. I just did it for this sake. And your MUT, which you can't really see because the lighting's coming from the opposite angle. Brilliant. But you can see there's no real protection here. I would have thought they would at least had a foam insert on the bottom and the top, or even a cardboard little square on the top and bottom, because when this one, the second one, arrived, it was actually in the pouch, out. So when I pulled it out, it actually fell out into the pouch, thankfully not onto my tile floor. So this one's his, and we'll get mine out. Sorry for the closeness. I wanted good quality, so that narrowed that down. So you see the little boxes, who cares? Boxes are out of the way. So we have our two Leathermans. You get your sheath, obviously your rain hole to let moisture out. And also you get your 1/2 inch and 3/8 inch driver. I've already marked mine, as you can, well, maybe you can't. Now it doesn't want to show up, but I put a little cross on everything. More because my first initial is T. And it just so happened to turn into a cross. You can't see on video, maybe you can, that this one has something wrong with the hammer, that it actually curves outward, versus the other one. Let me see if I have, and magically I do have something. You can actually see, I'll go one by one, make sure it's on there good, and you can see that there is a gap in there, and we're not talking about the little gaps. So it does curve. Let's check the other one, and it curves, but nothing like the other one. And actually on video you can see that it's not curving to the point where you see gaps in between the spikes. It just looks like the spikes are actually barely touching, touching. So it's got less of a curve. Not that big of a deal, but I mean, come on, Leatherman, if you want people to pay $150 retail, or whatever it is retail for these, or even at the $110 price, which is still, I'm in the retail industry and the wholesale industry, so I know all about pricing and everything, and that kind of gets to me. So, what else we're going to look at on this one, as you can see in some of the videos, I'll show you here in just a second. And so they're both closed as I pull this up real quick. If you look at this video, which is from this guy, gun websites, you can see that on his review of his Leatherman MUT, his teeth, are actually completely closing in on themselves and actually grasping them themselves, except for down here, which he's not squeezing hard, so that flex would actually go. As you can see on these, turn it that way, you can see that there is actually a pretty big gap in these. Come here. There we go, kinda. But you can see there's a big gap on this one. It's not because, for some reason in the video they're showing up something's there, but that's actually not what's stopping it, because you can actually see, sorry my nails, I use chemicals that dry my skin out. But you can see it's not perfectly flat, so you're not going to be able to grab, it's going to have pivot points basically. I'll show you that here in just a second, but this one is the other one. Make sure it's nice and tight. And you can see that he's got a big gap on this one too. And let me show you, darn wait, while I did that, I took just two razor blades just for example. A lot of times you are dealing with metal, and you can see you have a pivot point. So you're not getting a flat, let's go even further up, you still have you have your pivot point, so you're not getting a flat connection, which causes grip problems, you know, when you're actually dealing with flat objects. Now if you're dealing with, you know, a nut or something, or whatever else, then yeah, this size is okay, and you know, the gap point doesn't matter. But once you start getting into really small metals, thin metals, which happen on a daily job, you can see that there's quite a bit of a pivot point, whereas I don't have it and I'm not going to go look for it. On a regular needle nose pliers, once you get grip, you have grip. So we have that pivot point on that one, and we have a pivot point on this one. Not as much of a pivot point on this one, but I still can feel that that it's, you know, it's pivoting here and not here, which means again goes back to that loss of grip there. So that actually is something I think I'm gonna have Leatherman, I'm gonna have to contact them about and find out why that is, and if that is something caused by the black oxide, because that's typically done in a high heat environment, then we don't want that. But I've also seen a Leatherman MUTs that are black oxide that don't have that gap, so I'm not really going to buy into that it's manufacturing design. I think there's something wrong. But there's a few other issues with both of them anyway that I'll go into. But I'll, and as you know, Leatherman, they go one way first and then the other way to close them. You'll always, let me show you again, once you lock them into place, I'm trying not to bump the camera, once you lock them into place, you'll have this side will want to close first, then this side will be the one that doesn't. I do not suggest putting your thumb there, you're going to hurt it one day. But, so anyway, we're going to show you another issue that I had. On mine, my tip, you're not going to be able to see it on the video. Nope. But it's got what feels like a little, you can actually hear it. It's like a little record needle. So I'm not sure if that was just a bad cut or whatever. But we'll go, and what else was there? Something else wrong. We'll get back to it, and if I remember it, we'll remember it. But anyway, so we have our two Leatherman MUTs. Your MUT, as everyone has watched many videos out there, and not everyone even tells you everything about it. Oh yeah, let me show you another quick thing about both these. You have a locking mechanism right here that actually flips up and goes up so you can lock it. Now on mine's actually got issues. You can see that it doesn't really want to unlatch, whereas on my friends, or this would be a second one, no problems. So he's got a nice latch, keeps it latched. Close it, latch it, and they're good. Mine, on the other hand, does not want to latch right or unlatch right. And then you try to unlatch it, and it takes a lot of force. As you can see, compared to his, you can actually see it going into my hand, my thumb, to get it to go. And it's getting a little bit looser, but it's still not very pleasant. It comes standard with the flat bit. Boy, this lighting is really crappy. I'm hoping it's just what I'm seeing. But it comes with the flat installed this way. I prefer to have the Phillips installed this way. Unlatch this real quick. Because when it's in your pocket or something, you don't have the sharpness of this catching on something else. Or, you know, when you're pulling it out for some reason, if it catches back here, it's going to catch. So I like the Phillips there. Just so you know how to use that, you push in right here, and you can hear it, and it just comes in and out. And everyone knows how to use the screwdriver, obviously. Again, remember, this is metal on metal, so some things are like this lever to go back and forth. It's a little tight now, feels a little weird. That will get better with time. When you flip it, whichever side you're going to have your stuff in. Now, why is that getting hung up? That just got hung up for no reason. There we go. Something caught it up, but it gives you your flat and your straight. Number 2, I believe, and a 1/4 inch on that side. Flip it over, and we have our Torx. You always got to slam everything at first, but it gives you your Torx 15 and your square 7/64, so that way you can do set adjustments or any other work that needs to be done with that. They also have a accessory kit, I guess you could call it, so that way you can have a whole assortment of bits. They show you to use it like this. You can use it like this. Just know that you're going to be putting force this way. So really, I like to open it up and use it like this, so that way you actually get more precise. You're not really dinging everything up and dinging, you know, flaky, I guess. I don't know. Let's put this back in. Again, this video is done more on the fly, so I didn't have the time to set everything up the way I wanted. Forgot the total key. To put this bit back in, this lighting is not on our side today. So you just put it back in, you just slide that back through there, put it back in, and then latch it to where it's equal on both sides. That's better. And I'll show you also these are primarily meant for like the AR-15 and the M4 and other bolt action. So if your bolt were ever to jam with an extra round or anything for any reason, you have to pull your bolt back. You just pull in and pull out, and as you're doing that, you're obviously pulling your bolt back. But also, you can use this as a gun cleaning tool, which it's primarily designed for, as the AR-15 or M4 as a cleaning accessory toolkit. You can attach your extenders on it. On this one is actually a barrel brush for 9mm, 38, 57, something like that. This brush is actually just used for rubbing alcohol for my soldering purposes. This actual MUT's going in my soldering kit. I'm going to actually get 2 or 3 more, providing that I get a answer out of Leatherman from the knee mills part. There's no point in having a tool that's just not perfect. So the other part of it, again, I'll show you, is your bronze carbon scrubber. This can be used in soldering or for munitions or anything else work out there. Bronze is a very soft metal, so anything you're going to go ahead and scrape, let's take it like this, you're going to scrape off everything off of it and not scratch the metal per se. You're not going to do major damage. As you can see, I'm scraping it and scraping off the the galvanization off of it, but it's not etching down to the, etching the actual metal and scraping the metal like a carbide bit would. And just to show you that real quick, we like to test everything. Here's a carbide bit. I'm just going to run it across gently and go a little bit harder. And you can see, again, this one's mine, so I don't care. And it's going to get scratched up and used anyway. But you can see that it put a nice line in it. Let's go on this side and just put a light one, because I did go a little heavy on that side. And you can see that it did, in fact, come on, focus. Doesn't know what it to focus on, but you can see that it did in fact scrape it. That's just showing how soft bronze is, especially against a carbide scraper. But use this to clean out your bolt and any other carbon deposits you have. Typically on your assault rifle, you have your one-handed knife operation, which has got the serrated edges down at the bottom, the knife at the top. It's got a locking mechanism, so to put it back in, you just push here, swing it back, and close it. Having a little bit of difficulty here because I have a tripod right in front of me. Here's your saw. Still kind of one-handed operation. You have your, on the EOD model, this is your C4 punch. On the just standard MUT, you have your bolt break, your AR slash, you can get a Glock center punch, but this is your center punch. Can be taken off and used if you have, and I don't have one here, but a extension rod. As you can see, the threads are identical. Obviously, and you can change this over to C4 or to a smaller punch or whatever. I actually wish Leatherman took and made this C4 punch with to where it was a sheath that unscrewed off as thin as it would be, and inside that would be your regular punch, or an optional handcuff key. Because it keeps, touting flexi cuffs. Well, where's the standard handcuff key in it? That is actually used more than you might think. So what I'm actually probably going to do is have a friend over at a machine shop grab another piece of, now why did that get stuck that way? Metal like this and machine it the same way, but on one end put a handcuff key, and on the other end put the little punch to lock the handcuffs, and carry that probably more than the this one. So I'd actually move this one over to this side over here and have the handcuff key portion over on this side. There should have been a handcuff key embedded in here somewhere. I actually thought about it last night and found a few places it could be hidden, and to be honest right now, can't think of them. I think overall it's a great tool. However, the only thing I wish it would have had was the handcuff key. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. As much as it's a Leatherman, it has 1,000,001 tools, it's just relatively limited. Again, as you know, what you can do is take this out and slide it here. Again, sorry, this video is probably going to be one of my worst videos ever, but you slide it in. They say to slide the straight side first, and then the Phillips, if you look at the picture, so it can go in deeper, and then you never can get it out. But there's that. And they say primarily the reason for that is so that way you can just leave this open if you're going to be cutting cords or flexi cuffs or what have you. However, in my opinion, and in some brief operations that we just did recently, i.e. this morning, just testing stuff out, found that I could cut a pair of flexi cuffs with these, with this open, and some of them I just had to open it a little bit to get in there, and just rip them. To be honest, if you're flexi cuffing somebody, you're not going to be gentle on the cut action either, for whatever reason. That's not a abuse tactic or anything like that. That's just reality. So it's because it's going to hurt them, not hurt them, I don't want to say that, but it's still going to put pressure on it even if you didn't have this bit here and you're pulling up. Also, seatbelt cutter, haven't actually tested that part out of it yet. As most of anyone knows me, especially if you know me personally, you know that everything I have, I actually test everything 100% to make sure that it works. As you'd call it, dry fire everything just to make sure, as much as that's bad in my opinion for most weapons, unless you set them up to do that and have parts laying around for that purpose. You have to test everything, you have to try everything, you have to make sure it works, you have to fully engage everything. And as you can tell, I'm having a little bit of trouble with that locking mechanism, whereas with this one, I don't. So I mean, I could actually tell you which one's which without even seeing them. I mean, that's just easy, and that's how it's supposed to be. And this one's just horrendous. There's no anyone that's going to sit and say, "Oh, you're doing it wrong." Well, you can see how easy it's being done on that one, and how much of a pain in the ass it is on this one. Sorry. And we're 20 minutes into this video, so I'm about to end it. But I do hope that it has provided some enlightenment. Obviously, it's nothing like the regular videos that are out there, because well, why do something that everyone else has done? But these are the black oxide coated ones. The black oxide will wear out eventually. I just figure, well, you might as well get it for the initial protection, and then go from there. You can apply a wax or an oil. A good one to use is Pro 7 gun oil. It's actually a great product for weapons, as well as any other metal that can rust. As anyone knows with their tools, everything just starts rusting the day you buy it. And why? Because we all wiped off the oil, because we didn't want the oil. But this is a synthetic oil, so it actually can penetrate. So basically what I recommend doing is heating your object up to the, I don't want to say temperature, but let's just say 110, 120 degrees, maybe just a hair hotter. Apply your oil, let it in, pour it in, everywhere. There's any metal object that can rust. Let it sit there at 110, obviously make sure your plastics aren't going to warp or anything like that. I would actually take the plastic off, to be honest. And you don't want to go too hot, because you don't want to mess with the metallurgy properties of it. But I'd let it cook basically 10 minutes, so that way the oils can impregnate. Continually trying to go in and rub it when you can, because it's going to be nice and warm, and get the oils nice and down in there, and then go through a wipe down where you let it sit there for like, I prefer to let it sit there for a day and actually repeat the process. But you can just after your first initial cooking, you can wipe it down to where it's completely dry to the feel, and just keep playing with it, working out all the oil out of the joints, because it depends on how you're going to carry it, whether or not you want oil coming out at you later on. So you just clean it up and go from there. Even though you won't see the oil, it is providing a protection. You have your carabiner clip, so that way you're able to just quickly loop it onto something. Trying to think what else. Your belt centered, they say titanium belt clip. As you can see, this one's tight. We haven't used it really at all. But when you do buy your MUT, please do watch this video and know what to look for. Like on this blade, it's perfect. You can actually, well, you can't even hear. So let's go back. On this one, as you can see, and it's making that noise. Faint, but it's still there. This one. You can hear only when I catch on it when I start going like that. But when I'm going straight across, oh, I'm on the edge. I'm watching through the viewfinder, sorry. On this one you can just hear it. But it's right at the tip, which I don't care about that. I'm not complaining about that. My only complaint is my latch is a little screwy, as well as my needle nose aren't needle nose. They're tip nose. And if I looked at that close, and I don't want to edit this, so I don't want to in it. Let's go see if I can get it to focus. No, it won't focus. It's too close. But anyway, you can see that there is in fact a center point on here that does match up on this side as well. I call it center point, but it's a tip point. So I'm not sure exactly why. It's supposed to have basically a micro flat section here, and then be basically touching tooth to tooth all the way throughout, so that way when you're on something flat, it's got a really good grip, and when you're on something big, it's, you know, still got a grip, you know. But if you're like pulling out just like a thorn or you know, something, you can actually grip, as you can see. Show you that again real quick. It's got the grip in the front. Okay. I mean, you can tell it's got grip. I mean, just yank part of my skin off. But you really don't have, you know, the grip that we're talking about. You have pinch points, which is a pivot point. So that again is not good. I need it to, if I'm going to hold it like this and not want to squeeze to a point, even when I squeeze maximum, I still can pivot this. So it's not a needle nose. I don't care what anyone says. It's a needle tip. And then that I really have to say is a defect. So I haven't talked to Leatherman yet. I'm hoping they say it is, and I will update the video as to whether what they say. But I call it a defect. They may call it a design whatever. I'm kind of being proactive and being mean about that statement, but it that does cause an issue for me. But overall, this is your Leatherman MUT. Great tool again. It's going to want to close in on the side with the cutter first, and I just go like that, and then that will loosen up a little bit over time, but it is a locking mechanism, so it's gonna be a little bit tight, but you can hear it. Let me open it again, and you can see that we're right at the lock points, and we're in a lock, and we locked it open, so that way it locks these to these and these to these, obviously. And then we're going to close it. Again, it wants to swing into this side first, swing that, and then bring that up and close it. And there's so many ways you can do that. Now going into your sheath. Oh yeah, I really should have filmed this on this sun coming in the other way. But there's no instructions on the manual style how to put it in. The military has been a little iffy on how they say to use it as well. Nobody's actually said which way to put it in there. So I've actually just decided I don't care, and I'm going to put it in. One I'm going to put this way, and the other one I'm going to put the other way on the body gear and backpack. So on the right hand side it'll be one way, and on the left hand it'll be the other.